Let's talk first of all about how government policy on COVID, not COVID, but how government policy on COVID, the lockdown policies, is affecting more of my listeners and just ordinary people's real lives. Rory Green is the founder of Enlighten the Shadows, a mental health group on YouTube, and he joins us right now. Good morning to you, Rory.
Morning,
Good
Julia. All right.
morning. Yeah, I am. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, just going to go back and tell the story about why you ended up setting up a self-help group, because you've been through a pretty rough last year or so, haven't you? Tell us what's happened to you.
Yeah, I'm sure there's many of us in the country who've had a rough time as well. But for us personally, I was waiting for my new job to start end of February this past year, going into March, because of naturally the COVID restrictions, couldn't start my training. So I had to stay on universal credits. During that time, it's like 70 quid a week. My wife had a speech and language therapy company specifically for children, and she built up a really good clientele, but again, lost most of her clients by two. So literally we lost pretty much everything. And then during that time, we'd lost our baby, a miracle baby that we've been waiting 3.5 years for.
Oh gosh.
So yeah, pretty rough start to 2020 it was.
Absolutely. Yeah, you'd had a long sort of fertility journey. I was there myself. I do understand how difficult that is. And you're pregnant, finally got pregnant naturally, and then lost the baby at 3 months. And again, just absolutely devastating at any time. But of course, while grieving for that terrible loss, going into lockdown first time round, you also lost your stepsister.
Yes, so I've just been trying to make some connections with my father. Yeah, just love him to bits. We're just trying to work on a relationship of 20 odd years of ups and downs. And yeah, my stepsister was an NHS doctor, and God bless her, she took her own life, and my father found her. So then he called me up 3 days after we lost our baby. So there was a lot of grief going into the lockdown. So it had a lot of impact on my mental health, struggle with suicidal thoughts. And usually I'm like an upbeat guy, I'm full of beans and that. But I just wanted to I got to a point, Julia, in my life where got into the lockdown and I had to make a decision. Us men, we get purpose out of doing things. And so I thought, right, I need to do something about this. I need to either it goes in destruction or into life sort of thing. So yeah, that's why I decided to set up Enlighten the Shadows. And I wish I could show you a picture. I was using a wine rack to hold my laptop on the first episode on YouTube.
How appropriate! How appropriate! I mean, that's a better use for a wine rack in terms of someone having those mental problems as well. You say, I mean, you did that in May, and you say it's called Enlighten the Shadows. It's a mental health group. It's on YouTube. People can find it, and it's an open men's chat group. Men can confide in each other. And we know this is one of the real issues, isn't it? Is women often, they'll make the phone call, they'll have the chat. So even when they're actually not able to see people, as we've seen with lockdown 1, 2, and 3, at least they will have those conversations. Men, we know so many of you don't pick up the phone, you don't seek that help, but often online it can be easier. And have you found that, I mean, a lot of other men have also been struggling?
Yeah, I just want to be really clear before I go into it. The suicide of my stepsister was the final nail for me to do something for men. I can't speak to women's life like women can. So we've had women contact us saying, "Oh, do you support women?" We're like, we support women. We encourage them to do what I've done, set something up for women. And on your point, again, there's a lot of stigma with women. Women do attempt suicide a lot. They just don't manage to do it as
women. Yes, women's attempted suicide, as opposed to actual suicide, because often it's a different methods. We obviously don't want to discuss those in detail. But this is a lot of people and a lot of men have been struggling through this. And a lot of what happened to you that was really difficult happened just before the lockdown period. But normally we would have our loved ones around. We'd have normal life, routine, a sort of the routine of the day to sort of get us through. And time is that great healer. Time has almost stood still for the last year, though, hasn't it? And that makes that isolation makes it so much harder for people.
Yeah, absolutely. And, that's why we're here for men. We've got the YouTube channel just to equip and skill people different life subjects. But where the real power happens, Julia, is our Facebook group. We've already got 300 men on there. It's full of encouragement, vulnerability, people sharing their stories. I can't break confidentiality, but some real heartbreaking stories, and we've just been brothering one another. And then I've also set up a group called Enlisted, where we basically meet. Well, we were meeting in a gym we've made a partnership with, and that's where a lot of men are hurt right now. They want the gyms open, they want to be playing football, and so yeah, it's affecting the mental health really badly. So we just have a real chilled, open chat group where we have a bit of banter, we open up and we offload, and so many people have said they just really enjoyed it. So we're just looking to grow, Julie. We want to set these satellite groups over the country, and I just want to publicly honour and declare, like, Men Unite and Andy's Man Club are similar of ourselves, and they're absolutely brilliant. And if you go on Facebook and see these groups, it's utterly eye-opening, the amount of men who are struggling in the shadows, where you hear the government saying, COVID this, COVID that. There's such an imbalance. There's no advice about mental health tips. There's no advice about take vitamin D, zinc, cod liver oil. You know, there's no balance, and I feel like that's what's needed right now for people.
And again, also for men especially, there's a really big issue, isn't there? Is that men often, they're struggling, but they're living at home, they've got children or they've got a partner or family who are also struggling, and they feel that they need to be strong, they need to appear to be strong to look after their loved ones, and they feel they can't express their vulnerability, can't talk about what's difficult for them, and you've given them a safe place to do it. Rory Green, I mean, all credit to you, mate. I mean, I'm so sorry you've had such a rotten ride through. I think to take all those difficulties and to turn that into a way of helping other people, I absolutely salute you. Founder of Enlighten the Shadows mental health group, you find them on YouTube. Really do entreat you if you're struggling to get into a group like that. But all credit to you, Rory. Thank you so much for joining us.